World champions of baseball.
The Philadelphia Eagles are Super Bowl champions. Eagles fans everywhere, this is for you.
Now entering the game for Philly Pressbox Radio, Bill Furman and Jim Chet Chesko.
It's Wednesday, October 16th, 2024. Welcome to the Philly Pressbox Radio Roundtable, brought to you by the Irish Rover Station House in Langhorne, PA. Cavs Philly Tailgates. I'm Bill Furman. I'll be your host tonight, along with my partner, Jim Chet Chesko. Chet, Wednesday night after our show, Hurricane Milton came to visit, and it was a bad one. Thankfully for us, 15 inches of rain, 90-mile-per-hour winds, but no damage and lots of cleanup. Many were not so fortunate, and we sure are thinking about those folks. But I'd like to say, on a better note, we could talk Phillies, but that wouldn't work out very good. The Eagles picked up a win against the Browns, and no one's really happy about the way that played out. The Flyers are off to a 1-1-1 start out west to start the season. Joel Embiid is apparently skipping the preseason and maybe more. Paul George got hurt already. That's not good. But, hey, there is a good note. Penn State went out to L.A., beat USC 33-30 in overtime in a great game, now ranked number 3 in the country. We still have plenty to talk about in Philly sports.
Yeah, well, first of all, glad you made it through Milton. Okay, for the most part. That was a nasty one for sure. As for the Philly sports scene, wow, yeah, lots to get to. A full action-packed hour ahead, folks. So strap in, everybody.
A lot of cranky Philly fans, Chet, but yeah, we'll get to most of that. But we got a great guest tonight making a return visit to Philly Pressbox Radio with WIP's Jack Fritz. He'll be talking mainly Phillies, but some other things too.
Yeah, we haven't had Jack on in over a year, believe it or not, so great to have him back. And he, like a lot of folks, is still kind of in mourning over what happened with the Phillies last week. Now, Bill, before we get going with our discussion about the Phillies, the too short postseason run, the Topper contract extension, and everything else with the Eagles, Sixers, Flyers, Penn State, we have some news regarding Philly Pressbox Radio. As we mentioned a week or two back, the network we've been part of since early 2020, 4.75 years, is going by the wayside in terms of a podcast network. We've had a great run working with Big Al Zafiri, Joey Shearer, and our old pal Freddie Burns, and the numerous other guys that we've met along the way who were doing other shows on that network. Now, those friendships will remain. However, the network itself, that relationship, it's kind of going kaput. They're doing different things. The website will remain, but the podcast hosting network no longer, at least not right away. But the good news is we have a new partner that we're going to be working with. It is this guy, Phil Stifle. He has set up a new network. He hosts the 90-minute show Trending in the AM every weekday morning, Monday through Friday, that is, at 8 a.m. Eastern. And if you haven't yet watched that, please check it out. Phil is terrific. He does a great job. The new network is called the STT Sports Network, as in Set the Trends. And at some point, we're going to have Phil on with us over the next few weeks or month to talk sports and to talk about the new network. You will still find, by the way, us on our regular YouTube channel, and you'll also find it, though, on the new STT Sports Network. And to be clear, everybody, it's STT, not STD. That's something totally different entirely.
You didn't have to go there.
I'm sorry.
Well, I'm excited to join Phil. And as you mentioned, the guys at Edge of Philly were fantastic. We enjoyed working with them, all of them, all good people, all guys we consider our friends. No hard feelings anywhere. Just life got in the way for some folks, and they had to go take care of their business. So happy for them, happy to be joining Phil, and we're ready to get that thing started with him.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. Now, we will have him on at some point, like I said, over the next month. And you and I just might make occasional appearances on his weekday morning show, which is terrific. Like I said, if you haven't seen it yet, check it out. It's called Trending in the AM. I watch it on YouTube at least a couple of times a week. And he's great with interacting with the viewers. A lot of people post, nonstop. Way more than they do on our little show. With him, it's nonstop, and he'll post most of them, react to. I don't know how he does it. He's like a one-man band, looking at the posts and posting them, responding to them, plus getting through everything else that he has in his little notebook to go through every day. So he does a great job. Phil Stiefel and Trending in the AM. Check it out.
All right, good deal. Hey, but before we get to Jack Fritz, Jack, and the Phillies, we need to talk Eagles, and there's a bunch to talk about. I think you and I probably saw this game from a very different viewpoint, but let's talk actually football before we talk about that Nick Sirianni nothing burger that got thrown out all over the place. Go ahead, get it off your chest, and then we'll talk about really football.
All right. Well, I saw your posts on Monday, and yeah, you seem to have that any win is a good win mentality again, which a lot of people had last year. Look, winning is indeed the bottom line, no doubt about it. And if you get to the playoffs, hell, you'll take a win any way you can. But remember last season, the Eagles got to 10-1, but a lot of those wins, we felt, they didn't play as well as they could have it. And there are signs of concerns. We heard about some trouble perhaps in the locker room. And lo and behold,
who made that
reports, up? Various insiders reported it. I believe
the same people that said that Sirianni got into a booing contest with all made up. Forget it. That's rat poison, as Nick Saban says.
Again, going back to last year, it did all come crashing down after the 11th game when they got to 10-1. They lost 6 of their next 7, Bill. They haven't looked the same since. Now, going back to this past Sunday, I'll take the win. Yes, there were some positives. The defense played well. We'll talk about some of the other positives. But there are also still some issues, and we can discuss. They're 3-2, Bill. That's okay. But there are still issues, at least in my mind.
Okay, so let's back up just a second. Take a big step back, and let's look big picture of the football game. All right? Let's take one play out of that game. All right?
Blocked field goal.
No, that wasn't the most important play.
Okay.
It is 10-3 Eagles.
Yep.
With a couple minutes to go in the first half. Saquon Barkley runs out of bounds on second down, a yard short or half yard short or something short of the first down.
Yeah, it was bad on him.
Without contact, he ran out of bounds. If he makes that first down, that's the play we're going to take away. If he makes that first down, the Eagles go in and score. The sack on third down that was a disastrous play call doesn't happen.
Which Barkley missed a block on that too, by the way.
Right. The block field goal for a touchdown doesn't happen. And you now have a 17-3 halftime score. And the second half, let's hypothetically say, plays out exactly the way it did. It's a 27-9 win. And are we even having this conversation? Because it's not a bad win then.
Probably not.
One play.
But the play did happen, Bill, and that was the case last year with a lot of those games. 1 or 2 plays, and, things went not in favor of the Eagles. If Barkley does make that block, or if he does get the first down, it's a different thing. But it did happen. And
my point is the ceiling is not falling in. It was not a bad win. It was a good win. They pretty much controlled the game. I hope these come up. They're going to come up behind me, but I took these off the TV by people that are supposed to be smarter than me and you, Chet.
Yeah.
Oh, let's see. Can we get out of here? Can you get us out of here?
I could, I guess.
So these are the grades that were given by Barrett Brooks, Ron Jaworski, and Reuben Frank. And I've got 2 of them if you can get me off of the screen as well, or do I stop talking if you do?
Won't be able to hear you talk if I take you off the screen. We won't be able to hear you.
Well, basically, I'll kind of run through these. Barrett Brooks is on the left. Jaworski's in the middle. Reuben is on the right as I'm looking at it. Running back plays, B's and C's. Wide receivers, B's, B's, B's. The quarterback play up there, you can see from Rube, was an A. Tight ends, A's. OL, there you go. Quarterback play from Jaworski, A. O-line, they played good on offense. If you go over to the defense, here's the defensive one. Special teams got the bad grades with the C's and D's. A's and B's from these guys for the offense and the defense in this game. It wasn't as bad as people want to make it out to be. I'm gonna X out of these. There you go. You can fix the screen. It wasn't near as bad as what people want to make it out to be. And the other thing is Cleveland set up to stop the run, and they did stop the run. Eagles ran the ball 36 times and only threw 25 times. They did stop the run, and the Eagles still managed to win the game by throwing the ball when they needed to. I'm happy with it. Would I like to score more points? Certainly. If the game ended up 34-31, would you be happy? No, you'd say the defense stinks.
Yeah. Okay, I will give you the defense played well. They didn't give up a touchdown. I had no problem with the defense. The young guys, Cooper DeJean and Quinton Mitchell, who almost had an interception, but it was negated by one of his teammates, unfortunately. Right. The defense looked very good, so I was pleased with that. But I just felt the game should have been more impressive on the Eagles' part overall. You're playing a horrible team. The Browns.
The horrible teams got the defense. It's in the middle of the pack. They're not at the end of the pack.
Okay, let's agree to disagree.
I'm just giving you facts here.
And just for the record, I'm not mad about this just because I bet the Eagles minus 8.5 points. Okay, that's totally unrelated, folks.
I'm going to give you just a couple more little facts. All right, just because I'm, if you set up a little goal sheet for this game, I don't want to take up too much time, but first goal was win. They did. This is for the offense. No turnovers.
Joe Howell's a smart guy once in a while. Joe Howell is once in a while a smart guy.
Yeah. No turnovers. They had no turnovers. Quarterback produced 250 plus yards. He did. Total offense, 350 yards. They did. Rush for 4 yards per carry. They did not. 3.2 on 36 carries. 50% conversion on third and fourth down. They did not, but they were 7 for 16 for 44%, which is above the league average. Allow less than 3 sacks. Yes, only 1. Balanced run-pass offense. What are fans always talking about? Run the ball, run the ball.
Run the ball.
So they did. 36 runs, 25 passes. And I said score 24 points. I think that's probably a good average. They did not quite make that. They had 20. Defense, give up less than 20 points. They did. Actually gave up 0 touchdowns, as you mentioned. Create 2 turnovers on defense. They did not. Neither team had any turnovers. Minimum of 3 sacks. They had 5.
5.
For a team, 5 or less penalties. They did that. They had 5. And special team block kick obviously hurt. You go down the goal list that a team would normally set, they made most of them, and that's why they won the game.
All right. Hey, we'll take the win.
I hate to mess you up with facts.
Going forward, Bill, I need to see more consistency. There were some positives. Like I said, the defense, yes. The fact that Jalen Hurts did not have a turnover for the first time in 10 games, that was really good to see.
And run the ball, run the ball. Right?
Big game Sunday against the Giants. We'll talk about that when we get to our picks, of course. But keep in mind, the Eagles will be without a couple of key guys, Jordan Mailata and Dallas Goedert for sure, both going to be out for a few weeks. 1 or 2 other injuries as well. So,
and how about that Jack Calcaterra for 67 yards?
Yeah.
Devontae Smith for 64. A.J. Brown for $14, 16.
Yep.
They did what they needed to do to win the game. When the game first ended, I thought the same thing. But as I sat back and looked at how it all played out, hey, it was a good win. I'll take it. I don't care.
Hey,
it's not a beauty contest, pal.
Our pal PJ says, love how the Lions annihilated the Cowboys. We can all agree on that, folks, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, now we got to talk about the Nick Sirianni stuff. Going at it with some of the fans. Mixed reports about what actually happened. You posted that thing. Do we know for sure if that was legitimate from the one fan involved? Has that been confirmed?
Well, I don't know that. My understanding is he also called WIP. didn't hear that he did or he didn't, but I read that he did.
I don't think he went into detail with WIP, though. He didn't really give any specifics.
Yeah, I don't know. But, I mean, there's no reason for the guy to say I'm sitting in row number, seat number, section number, and this is how it went down if he didn't do it, unless he's Sirianni's brother or somebody. Right. I don't why do it? And, you know, if you saw Brandon Graham laughing at Sirianni talking to the fan, you see him on the sideline. I think it's a big nothing burger, and it got picked up by the media. They ran with it. They made it into a national media thing that made Sirianni look like a fool. And from Jeffrey Lurie, I'm sure Jeffrey Lurie was involved with Sirianni apologizing. He said, clean it up, make it go away. Sirianni took the sword. He got to get back to work. They got a ball game to play, and it's a nothing burger to me.
One other thing we got to take him to task on, though, at least I think we do, is taking his kids to the news conference. All 3 kids there, they look like they really wanted to be there, didn't they? Come on, man. He brought the kids there to deflect some of the questions he knew he was going to get about the things that went wrong during the game. Mike Sealski wrote about it. I have a problem with that. Take a kid once in a while, but bring all 3 kids to the postgame news conference. Sorry, don't like it.
Yeah, I wasn't big on the kids at the press conferences. I mean, it's kind of cute every once in a while when he did it, but no, I wouldn't take the kids to the press conference. And as far as Mike's article, I read a little bit of that. And I was like, you know, it's a sad job. I like Mike. I like his books, but I didn't much like that article.
But what do we think of Nick's buzz cut?
Yeah, I care less. He could have no head on for all I care, as long as they win on Sundays.
Eagles Giants this Sunday, Bill. We'll talk about that when we get to our picks, but we got to move on, man. We
could talk about this Eagles thing all day long, but we got to talk about what's going on over the Irish Rover Station House.
This place, the Irish Rover Station House. Absolutely, Bill. You know this. The Irish Rover Station House in Langhorne, PA has happy hour specials. Always 24 beers on tap. Thursday through Sunday, dinner specials, and something new also for Thursdays. Yeah, it is a Thursday special. You get Stella and wings. We're talking a giant glass of Stella for $5 and then a $9 plate of wings. Oh, live music is back at the Irish Rover on Saturday nights. This Saturday, it is Ashton John providing the tunes. And take note, the Irish Rovers Halloween party is slated this year for Saturday, November 2nd. So don't put those costumes away on the 31st. The party, November 2nd at the Rover. Get your costume. Get to the Irish Rover. It's on Bellevue Avenue in Langhorne. Be sure to check the website, irishroverstationhouse.com. A good time for everyone always. And what do we have for you this week, Bill? Oh, a new one haven't used this in quite a while.
Hey there, it's Scott Fransky of the Phillies. Bill, Chet, just want to say congratulations on 10 great years with Philly Pressbox Radio. Keep up the great work.
He does such a great job.
Yeah, love Fransky.
Hey, I want to throw this up here because somebody has got it figured out. Clean big game for the quarterback. 3 rookies on defense, trending upward nicely. I like it. I'm on board.
Yeah. I like this one too, though, which I don't know if you caught when I posted it. Dennis Malloy. The Sirianni thing is all he said that it's all bullcrap. No, I didn't like that. Yeah, I like the other thing that he said.
He knows. He knows. Denny hates. That's
the one. That's the one.
No. Denny hates Hurts. Anything with Hurts, he's going to not like. So we'll just go from that.
There it is. Hurts is a bum. His weekly bashing of Hurts.
Let's move on.
Let's move on.
All right, Chet. Last Wednesday before our show, the Phillies season ended quietly. It was pretty much silence until yesterday when it was announced that Rob Thomson and the entire staff would be returning. Dave Dombrowski said pretty much expecting very little turnover on the club other than maybe some tweaks.
Yeah. Okay. The Rob Thomson extension news, which came not as a total surprise, that was okay. But the fact that all coaches will be back, no sacrificial lambs, a bit of a surprise to me, at least. By next year at this time, we'll pretty much know if that was the right decision.
Yeah. Yeah, we will. That's for sure. You had a chance to sit down with WIP's Jack Fritz earlier today. to discuss all these things on the Phillies. I want to hear what Jack has to say before I have a couple comments. I don't want to run over that because I don't know what you guys talked about, but I have a couple comments on the way out. So tell us about your visit with Jack.
We talked earlier this afternoon, right before his afternoon show with the guys on WIP, and here is our chat. Well, we thought we'd be talking about a Phillies NLCS battle this week, but nope. Instead, we're talking about the team's plans for next season, which we can say for sure now will include Rob Thomson as manager. Let's talk all things Phillies with one of my favorite WIP personalities. You know him also from the High Hopes podcast. He co-hosts with James Seltzer. It is Jack Fritz. Hey, Jack.
Jack, good to see you, buddy. And we were commiserating on Sunday, but man, I'm still kind of surprised we're here. I guess I've gotten so used to every single postseason just being like, yeah, I got at least until October 20th before I have to worry about, having other plans besides just the Phillies. But here we are, and we got a big old offseason to talk about.
Yeah, we had a good time Sunday at the Dalton Foundation event. That was a real good time. Good to see you there. First things first, Rob Thomson getting the extension. We know that now. He gets a year added to his contract, so through 2026 now. They will also bring back the entire coaching staff next spring. I know you've commented about it. What does that say about the state of the Phillies and what the offseason might bring?
Yeah, well, obviously that means that they believe it's a player's issue. And in talking or listening to them talk yesterday, I hope that that's not their mentality of run it back. I know the big takeaway from yesterday felt like run it back, but I'd be surprised. I'll take it as that was just setting up the offseason rather than how they really believe. At least I hope that's the case. Thomson coming back's fine. If you're not going to change the core, I would not have brought back Rob Thomson because I think you're just going to end up in the same spot. I never thought it was Rob Thompson's fault as to why they're currently home. I did agree it was a player's issue, but if you believe in the players, I don't know what you can do to kind of shake this whole thing up. I don't think they're just fine. I don't think it was just they ran into a hot team. I think there's something more structurally wrong here. So, I was a little surprised. I knew they didn't want to head into a lame duck year, but the bigger surprise for me is Kevin Long. I know hitting coaches, they're not like offensive coordinators in football. Like, they don't matter as much. But at the same time, you've seen this team struggle to adjust for 2 years. And if he's brought back because of some pie in the sky or getting Juan Soto reason, that feels like a stretch to me. I was surprised Kevin Long's back. A little disappointed he's back. Gotham, I wanted back. I think he's a stud. And Thomson, again, I'm fine with it. I just hope that there's more of a shakeup with the roster than they led on yesterday.
Well, yeah, you said on the High Hopes podcast last week that the Phillies do need some real changes in the offseason. So what do you think? What current Phillies are most likely to be traded? Bohm, Marsh?
Bohm, Marsh, I think are the two to look at. They're stuck a little bit. I mean, 1 year of JT, no one's going to really take that. I don't think you have to move on from him at this point. Harper, obviously not going anywhere. Stott, I think maybe they'd explore something with Stott. Turner, he's pretty locked in with Trey. Really, it's just I think a lot of people are over the daycare. I don't need to hear about the daycare. You're almost 30 years old. We can't be doing the daycare thing anymore. So I think Marsh and Bohm and Stott are like one of those three and looking for some kind of upgrade. They're going to have tough conversations. There was some talk yesterday on the station of like, well, do they float Schwarber out there because he has some real value? I wouldn't. I think he's too important. I love Schwarber. I think he's a core Philly. So I'd actually look to extend him this offseason if they could. But, yeah, I just running it back with the same coaching staff and expecting the fan base to be as in as they were last year, I think is asking a lot. So, again, I hope yesterday was lip service and they can really attack this offseason the way they should.
Well, you already mentioned the name, Juan Soto, the connection with Kevin Long. Just 26 years old next week. Soto hits free agency. Any chance the Phillies break the bank again and sign Juan Soto?
It's a stretch, 100%. I mean, it's a stretch. I wouldn't put anything past them. I know they were in on Yamamoto last year. Whether that was deferrals or whatever, they got to 330 with him. So they know how much it's going to cost. There's been talks behind the scenes that they're going to be in on Juan Soto. So I think they're going to try. I think it's definitely a reach as of right now. But if there's one guy to break the bank for, if there's another guy to give a $500 million contract to, it's Juan Soto. He's 26. He's a Lock Hall of Famer. He's a stud. So him and CBP with these guys would be ridiculous. I would do jumping jacks. We wouldn't be able to wipe the smile off my face for months. I'd be through the moon. I'd be freaking out. Don't think it's going to happen.
Well, all throughout the postseason and at the Tuesday presser, we heard a lot about the Phillies hitters' chase rates and the need to hit to all fields. Oh. Why is this such a constant problem with this team?
Well, it's all we heard yesterday was, well, yeah, we got to go the opposite way. You use the whole field. Well, these guys are 30, almost like most of them, 28 to 32 years old, 33 years old. You're not changing that. It comes down to getting those kind of players in here. I mean, listen, Stott should be one that uses the whole field. Turner should be the one that uses the whole field. Bohm should use the whole field. But hearing Rob Thomson say, we told them that every day, and then we're going to run back at the same guys and the same hitting coach and expecting something else, that seems insane to me. So, yeah, I don't think hitting the other way is the end-all, be-all. I think finding more patience, getting on base more. Listen, hitting the other way is a nice buzzword to say, but I don't know. It fell on deaf ears, I think, yesterday with the whole, we just got to hit the opposite way. That's not an idea. That's not a strategy. That is more hoping, and to expect guys as seasoned as they are to all of a sudden be like, hey, Castellanos, just go the opposite way and don't chase. He tried that last year, and he's hitting 180 after May. So he's not going to do that. And I don't know. For a lineup that's pretty locked in to try to say, hey, just go the opposite way, felt like wishful thinking.
Yeah, like you, I was really frustrated watching the NLDS. Harper and Castellanos were both fine, but Kyle Schwarber hit the first at-bat home run and then one for his next 15. Trey Turner, 0 extra base hits, no RBI. Alec Bohm and Brandon Marsh, 1 for 13 each. Bryson Stott, that huge game 2-run triple, but just 2 for 11 overall. Jack, why are these guys disappointing us again this year like this? I can't take it.
I know. It's brutal. And I wish I had like a clear-cut answer for you, but They strike out a lot. They struggle to see spin, and that's my thing with Kevin Long is that his whole strategy, has been hunt the fastball, hunt the fastball, hunt the fastball, and the Phillies pretty okay, I guess, at hunting the fastball. But with the way the game's changing, everything's about spin, everything's about sweepers, everything's about cutters. So if you're only, I'm sure they're not only teaching guys to hit fastballs, but it feels like the game is trending towards a way that is moving from what Kevin Long kind of does. It feels like they've underachieved offensively. It's funny, the Phillies offense and the Eagles offense, they look the same. They're both underachieved with huge names, but
very true.
I don't know how to get the most out of them.
Jack, we need to talk about the pitching staff. Wheeler, Nola, and Sanchez should be fine. Are we confident that we're going to be seeing more of the amazing first half of 2024 Ranger Suarez and less of the not good at all second half Ranger?
Yeah, he's starting to look more and more like a guy that might not be able to hold up through an entire season. I mean, even in 2022, they put him on the IL with back spasms, missed some time last year, and then obviously this season was dealing with maybe dead arm with some back issues. Who knows? He seems like more of a low 100s kind of innings guy rather than a guy that you can, pencil in there every fifth day for an entire season like you feel like you can with Wheeler and Nola and Chris Sanchez too. I think one more year we'll be able to put him in kind of that category. The most interesting one is going to be Painter from a rotation standpoint because I think people have this idea that Andrew Painter is going to lock down the fifth starter spot. He's going to pitch every fifth day. That's not going to happen. He's going to pitch. I'd be shocked if he pitched 125 innings. It feels like 100 innings maybe. So to bank on that, they're going to have to manage his innings and they're going to have to sign another guy because, God forbid, we don't want to put Taiwan back out there. So, so the rotation's more in flux, I feel like, than on paper it looks like. So, yeah, I mean, it's Ranger. I think you're going to, at worst, you're going to get a pretty good pitcher that for some reason, shows up in the postseason, and you just kind of trust him from that standpoint. He did it again. I mean, he was horrible at the end of the season. His ERA was like over 6. And then he gets into game 4, and he's good. He's just getting out of big jams and stuff like that. And then Painter's the wild card. But again, to bank on him to pitch a ton of innings, I think is faulty logic. So they're going to need to sign someone. There's some rumors at the deadline of Garrett Crochet. Mm-hmm. Bob Nightingale said a couple weeks ago that they want to re-explore that. That's going to cost you both prospects and capital because he wants a new contract. But the rotation is one to monitor. I'm excited about Painter, but it's more about 2026 than I think it is more about 2025 for Andrew Painter.
But the bullpen was pretty good most of the season. Dreadful in the NLDS. What the hell happened, and are there any major changes expected next season in the pen? Do they bring back Estevez?
It's a tough one. I think Estevez is a good bullpen arm to have. Do not need him closing out games. And, there's certain times, in game 3, for instance, they're down 4-0, kind of still in the ball game. Don't want to give it away. They need a strikeout to get out of the 1 inning, and they went to Jose Ruiz over Carlos Estevez because I think they trust Jose Ruiz to be able to get a strikeout more than they would Estevez. So, again, good pitcher. Don't want to overpay for him. Hoffman's the one I got to bring back. I know people are down on Hoffman. I think Hoffman's fantastic. He was brutal in the Mets series, no doubt about it. But Jeff Hoffman's a really, really good pitcher and has some dynamite stuff. So Hoffman, yes. Estevez, I lean no, but that doesn't mean you can't not go sign someone. Or if you want to get, I think they're going to be in the Devin Williams sweepstakes. He's got 1 year left. They don't want to pay him. Go get Devin Williams as kind of your closer and let everyone kind of settle into a role after that. Of all the things that happened, the bullpen's the one that surprised me the most because Strahm, I trusted. Hoffman, I trusted. Kerkering, trusted. And they just let him down. I mean, they just they completely collapsed. None of them you felt good about. Whereas for a majority of the season, you felt like it was ball game when they came in. So on paper, really good bullpen. Ultimately did not live up to the hype.
Going to be an interesting offseason for sure. Hey, Jack, you have a reputation of being pretty hard on the Eagles and the starting quarterback. How are you feeling now about Jalen Hurts, Nick Sirianni, and company heading into a Week 7 matchup against the Giants up at MetLife?
Yeah, it's funny. Being labeled an Eagles hater, I don't know what you want me to do. I kind of tell you what I see and what I believe in, and I've never really been the biggest Jalen guy. Again, I think he's fine. I think he's a middle-of-the-road quarterback. But, special, I don't see. Nick Sirianni, I never really believed in, and, we'll see what happens here. I mean, that's the biggest worry about bringing Rob Thomson back is what's playing out with Sirianni, where it's every week, is this guy's job on the line? Is this guy's job on the line? That could be coming too with what's going on with the Phillies, and then if they'd run it back with the same team. So, yeah, I mean, they're just an average football team. I mean, I think people are, there's a lot of vitriol towards them because people had ideas that this was a Super Bowl team. If you can just lower the expectations towards, hey, I hope we make the playoffs, maybe we'll feel better. They're just not that good, and it stinks. It feels like a wasted season, but they're just not. They're just not. So you love some of the young kids. I love Quinyon Mitchell. Cooper DeJean had a good game on Sunday. See some growth there. Offensively, it's just been a disappointment. I mean, they struggle to score 20 points against every single week with that kind of offensive firepower they have, and there's been a lot of conversations about, okay, well, is it Nick Sirianni get his hands in the offense? I just find that so hard to believe. Why would the guy who's been spent all offseason saying, I'm not going to be in the offense, and the Eagles are saying, don't touch the offense, why would he be coming into Kellen Moore's office and be like, hey, run the bad stuff? Let's make this offense as boring as possible. So it's tough. It's a tough go. Now, going to make the Giants game on Sunday excruciating. There's no doubt about it. Excruciating. It's not going to be an easy win. So we'll see. Hopefully they go out and Saquon scores like 2 or 3 touchdowns.
2 minutes left. 3 and out. I'll let you go. First thing, what is the toughest thing about working with Ike and Spike?
I mean, it's topics every day, But overall, I mean, we're 3 really good friends. So I think that comes across on the air. I think that if you listen to us, that we sound like we're having a good time. Like really, I think it's been great. Spike, he's a huge mentor for me, and we all, I think chemistry wise, it's never been an issue. So having to talk about a 3-2 football team that everyone's mad at, or the Phillies, is probably it's probably the only super hard part about the job. But people were very, very skeptical about Spike at the beginning, I feel like. And I feel like people are now opening up to him, which I appreciate, because he's a great dude, and we're having a lot of fun.
As I mentioned to you when I saw the other day, your daily 5 at 5 is a real favorite of mine and many other folks as well. I'm not going to ask you for 5, but what are a couple of your more memorable non-sports 5 at 5 segments?
There's been I don't know. There's the ones that I find so dumb that they're funny are some of my favorites. I did most athletic animals at one point, and because this is going to sound again like dumb, but I'm amazed by squirrels. I think squirrels are ridiculous in their athleticism. They can do everything. They're quick, they agility, they're strong. So the dumber ones, like I did top 5 flowers, and I don't know anything about flowers, and it was
I remember that.
as dumb as it could get. So yeah, it's trying to think of something every day is certainly something. It's kind of like being a stand-up comedian in a way. Like, how could I make them laugh? Those are the ones that people like, are the ones that are dumb and funny. So that's a challenge, but people really like it, and I'm glad people like it.
Last thing, Jack, you and your wife have an 18-month-old son, Walker, presumably not named after Taiwan, and you got a second baby on the way. What can you tell us about baby number 2?
Well, it's a boy, so that's going to be awesome. The Fritz boys. I think we figured out a name the other day that I think we're both on, but we can't reveal that publicly. But
January, right?
Early January. So Jill's feeling great, which is awesome, because first trimester was not the best, and everything's healthy, everything's moving in the right direction, and I sort of can't believe I'm going to be a father of 2. But it's being a dad, I was always excited for it, and it's been way better than I thought, even
awesome
for how excited I was. So Walker's the best thing in the world. So I'm looking forward to baby number 2 and being not as tired as James Seltzer, who loves to tell people how tired he is, but look forward to going through the daily grind.
Catch this guy afternoons on the afternoon show on WIP, Ike, Spike, and Fritz, and on the High Hopes podcast as well. Always great to have you on, Jack. We'll do it again next spring, hopefully, when presumably we're all going to have high hopes once again.
As long as they don't run it back. We should be okay. If they run it back, I don't know. It could get dicey.
Well, Chet, I got to say, interesting, and I don't disagree with a lot of it. Although, 2 comments I'll make. One, and I was going to say this before you started the interview. I'm glad I didn't. Tyrone Johnson, I heard a piece that he did on this deal with the putting it all on the players by keeping the whole coaching staff.
Yeah.
But Tyrone's take was, do the players have the maturity to adjust? I thought that was a great line, because like Jack's saying, he doesn't think they do, but but they're all going to leave. And I'm guessing that there's going to be, the team is probably analytics, providing them with all kinds of crap of information saying, hey, when you hit the ball the opposite way, this happened, blah, blah, try to convince them. And we talked about this with Kyle Schwarber when he went to spring training. I had mentioned that he did an interview and said his goal is to put the ball in play and use the whole field. he picked up 60 points on his batting average, 50, 60 points on his batting average, and didn't lose his power. So if they can buy in, if they can't, as Jack says, you're going to run it back.
Yeah, and Alec Bowen was pretty good at hitting all fields for much of the season anyway. But otherwise, it's tough to teach an old baseball dog new tricks, as Jack implied.
Yeah, and I mean, the big thing for them is they want to win a World Series. And they're not going to do it. They all know it. They're not going to do it doing what they did this year or last year. So you're going to adjust. It's not about the money. They all got way too much money. It's about winning the World Series. And, are they going to be able to do it or not? Only other comment I'll make before we got to run off is for the Eagles, no one's happy. Let's talk about this again in 4 weeks. Giants,
we will.
Bengals, Jags, Cowboys. That should be
we will.
Three, if not 4 wins, right? Should be. At Cincinnati might be a tough game. That should be 3 or 4 wins. If you're sitting here at 6-3 at the halfway point or 7-2, how sad are you?
I'd be thrilled. I would be thrilled if we were 6-3 or 7-2. Hey, Bill, look, we got a new listener, although I don't know if we can call her a fan just yet. Where's Phil? I thought this is his channel.
There you go. Well, good to see you.
But Phil did reply. Phil did reply over in the side chat explaining that this is part of a new network, and we're the first official additions to Phil's network. So, there's your answer, Barbara.
There you go.
Thanks for watching.
Hey, that Malloy guy he's threatening me, Chet. He's threatening me. Look. Oh, we will. All right. Hey, Chet, tell us what's going on with the best tailgaters in Philadelphia, Bob Cavanaugh and the gang of Cavs Philly Tailgates.
Well, Bill, I'm glad you asked. Cavs Philly Tailgates has been cooking up a terrific catering business for some 35 years now. Known best for their tailgate parties, Cavs is a 3-time winner of Philly Tailgate's Jack Daniels Great American Tailgate Party Contest and a past winner of the Philly Daily News Tailgate Award. Cavs also does corporate events and parties, you name it. Of course, Cav hosts tailgates before all of the Eagles home games at the Link. There's the partial schedule. They had the Browns one this past Sunday, of course. Upcoming ones in November and December include games against the Jags, the Commanders, the Panthers, the Steelers. There'll be tailgates before all of them. Check the website phillytailgates.com for pricing and more info about upcoming events. And if you have questions, you can email them at cavscatering@verizon.net. Cavs Philly Tailgates is the way to go. And Cav works with the guys at Philly Sports Trips who have fantastic trips for every Eagles road game and other events like Philly spring training trips. Get all the details at phillysportstrips.com.
Well, hey, Chet, the Flyers have opened their season 1-1-1 with one more on the Northwest trip. Ended up losing last night in overtime, but we got our first couple Michkov goals last night. What do you think?
It's a shame. I stayed up till a little after 11 last night, so I saw much of the first period. Actually, I missed part of it, checked the box score, saw the Flyers were up 2-0. I had it on in the basement, so I was able to rewind, and I watched and I saw the 2 Michkov goals, and I thought, oh, this is good. Flyers up 2-0. I went to bed, though, woke up this morning, saw what happened. 4-3 overtime loss. But good to get Michkov on the board with those first 2 NHL goals. That's certainly a big thrill. He looks like the real deal. One more road game out in the great Northwest before coming home Saturday night. And I think that place is going to be hopping, the Wells Fargo Center, when Michkov makes his home debut.
Yeah. And three games, 3 points, 2 goals and assists, a little -3. We'll have to work on that. But, good start for the kid. And I think he's going to be fun to watch. I think they got good goaltending again last night, just not enough to win. So, yeah. Looking forward for him to get home and back on regular hours so everybody can get to watch him. I think they're going to be fun this year.
Absolutely. Hey, kudos to the folks out in Columbus who did a great job honoring Johnny Gaudreau and his brother, who died in that tragic accident. Real nice with the 13-second moment of silence and them running 13 seconds off the clock. So real nice job for the Gaudreau family.
Yeah. Awful. I mean, Great, but awful.
Right.
All right, Chet. Let's get to our weekly picks. And we've been miserable. I think we're still miserable. I don't know how we did this past week, but
we're less miserable. We're less miserable now.
Less miserable. All right. Well, anytime Dallas loses by 35 or 40 points, I don't really care if I get these picks right or not.
Poor Jerry Jones on his birthday had to sit through that. That was, I almost felt badly for him. Almost.
Hey, I got to say to you, because I think I shared this with you. How about Jerry going off on the radio guy, trying to ask him questions, and he called him out and told him he was going to fire him? Jerry's off his rocker.
Yeah. Man, I felt badly for those guys. I had watched that.
They were laughing. They were laughing.
Well, I mean, come on. They were legitimate questions. The team just got plowed by 30-some points. They had to ask about it, and Jerry gets upset that he has to answer it. Hey, tough life, pal.
Yeah, it's getting Jerry's getting hot in Jerry's kitchen. He created it all. He's the general manager. He's the owner. It all goes down on him, and his team is really playing bad football.
But, Bill, you digress. We have the Pick'em League standings, and look what we did last weekend. I somehow won a perfect 4-0. You were 3-1. Boop 2-2. I'm still well in last place, but only 5 games back of you, Bill. You're over 500 now, 14-12. At 1 game up on Boop. So congratulations. You're in first place, Bill, about a third of the way into the season.
Well, and we're going to try to mess that up this week because we've added a couple games to our NFC East slate since the pitiful Cowboys are off. And, of course, the Eagles are playing the Giants. So we've added, Chet, Kansas City at San Francisco. 49ers are -1.5. These are good games this week.
Yeah.
Detroit is at Minnesota. The Vikings are -2.5. That surprised me a little bit, even though they're undefeated. And Monday Night Football, Baltimore is at Tampa Bay. The Ravens are -3.5. And then back to the NFC East, Carolina at Washington. The Commanders are -7.5. And the Eagles versus the Giants, the Eagles are -3. Let's do it. You have Boop's pick since he's not with us tonight?
Got them right here on my phone. I didn't look at them yet, but I do have the list. The first game, you said Kansas City at San Francisco, right?
Yep.
All right. Boop says Kansas City is 5-0. San Francisco is legitimate 3-3. Boop's pick the Chiefs. Spoiler alert, Boop is a Chiefs fan in addition to being an Eagles fan. Boop is picking KC. I am as well. I just think they're the better team. They haven't all been pretty wins either, but hey, a win is a win, as you say, Bill. Kansas City the pick.
Yeah, I'm taking Kansas City too, and I don't think San Francisco without McCaffrey and all that stuff. I'm not sure they're all that right yet.
I'm shocked they're a 1.5 favorite. I had to double check that. I said that doesn't seem right.
Me too.
KC would have been favored. Oh well.
Yeah. And this one, I think, has got a chance to be a really good game. Detroit is at Minnesota. Vikings are -2.5. That's just got to be because they're at home.
Yep.
This got a chance to be a really good game.
Another line that kind of surprised me. I thought that might be a pick 'em, but yeah, Minnesota favored by 2.5. Let's see. Boop says Detroit is starting to look scary good again. Halloween approaching. Boop picks the Lions. So do I. I think Detroit's going to win on the road. I'm going to bet that you're picking Minnesota because you've been a Vikings fan because you know Bill O'Connell and his son. So
yeah, but I use the word love because that would be. I like Dan Campbell a real lot. And
okay.
I want him to do really well. Losing Aiden Hutchinson, man, that's a big hit for any team. But I'm going Lions. I'm going to ride with them.
Okay, so far we agree on both picks. Next up.
All right. Baltimore at Tampa Bay, Monday Night Football, Ravens -3.5. The Bucs just put up about 40 this week.
Okay. Oh, I just lost Boop's picks. Hang tight. I got him. All right. Boop says, you just don't know which Baltimore team is going to show up. Apparently he thinks a good one this week. He's picking the Ravens. So am I, Bill. I don't think Tampa Bay is that great. I'm taking Baltimore on the road.
Yeah, well, you're both going to lose because Tampa Bay is going to win this game. And I'm a huge Baltimore fan. I went against them last week. I'm going against them this week. Don't know why. That was my loss last week. Tampa Bay can score points. They scored 40 and threw 3 interceptions. They can score points. We'll see how this goes. At home on a Monday night, I'm going Tampa Bay in this one.
All right.
Carolina at Washington, Commanders -7.5. Carolina's playing better.
Boop is repeating himself here. He said in the previous one, you just don't know which Baltimore team is going to show up. Now he says you just don't know which Washington team is going to show up. He's picking the Commanders. So am I. Washington, I think maybe a legitimate playoff contender. So we're both taking Washington.
I'm taking Washington. I'm not going so far as to say a legitimate contender after 5 weeks. It was 6 weeks, whatever. There's a long way to go.
Yeah.
It's not like they're reinventing the wheel down there in Washington. It's the same group. All right. Eagles visit the Giants. Eagles -3. I was surprised, actually, that this spread was this close.
Yeah, I thought it may maybe be about 5 points in favor of the Eagles, but whatever. Boop says the crystal ball says that football will start to get fun again in these parts. Boop's pick is the Eagles. I'm picking the Eagles too. Remember last week I picked the Eagles in a semi-blowout, 34-16. The final was 20-16. My score this week, Eagles 27, Giants 20.
Okay. Eagles are going to win.
All right.
And if we got to throw a score out, I'll go 24-17. 16. Okay. Just for an odd number. 24-16 Birds.
Okay. Sounds good.
And a win is a win. All right. Let's get back to our margin of victory pool.
Hey, before we do that, a couple of people have been wondering where the hell Boop is because he hasn't been on Facebook. I actually got a message from one of his friends saying, "Where's Boop? Is he okay? Haven't seen him on Facebook." You were wondering because we were in a little chat group and he didn't respond or didn't obviously even read the message. Well, I want to mention that our buddy Boop has indeed been AWOL from Facebook the last several days. And it turns out it's because he had a little run-in with the Facebook police. In his words, it was due to a lapse of humorical judgment, a humor judgment on his part, humorical in his words. Shame on you, Boop. But on his behalf, I'm going to remind folks to check out his website where you can get the daily listings of TV sports of interest and all sorts of other fun stuff on there. That website, which, by the way, is sponsored by Chick's Deli in Cherry Hill. Thanks, Boop. Is boopstats.com. So Boop is alive and well. Check out his website, boopstats.com.
There you go. All right, let's get to that margin of victory so you can show off and pat yourself on the back because you pulled one out of your ear.
Yeah, well, Bill. Okay, the margin of victory pool, again, kind of like a survivor pool, except you don't get eliminated, thank goodness, if your one surefire pick loses. You do get points, though, if that surefire pick wins, the points equating to the margin of victory. Well, none of us is setting the world on fire, but as you can see, we all did have a pretty darn good week this past weekend. You guys both picked the Eagles. Even though I thought they would win big, I picked Houston. And lo and behold, the Texans did win big. They won by 20 over New England, and that allowed me to open up a nice little lead atop the season-to-date standings. There you see it, 49 points for me, 32 for you, Bill, 18 for Boop. I'm trying to defend my title of last year.
Yeah, I hate that.
All right. Oh, Boop, you want the picks?
It kind of made me throw up in my mouth. I'm not lying.
Oh, Boop, son of a gun. Boop has the same pick as me. Boop is taking the Jaguars. So am I. I'm taking Jacksonville over New England. I took the team that beat New England last week. I'm taking the team that's playing New England this week. So Boop and I both are picking Jacksonville. What is that, Bill?
Jacksonville.
Okay. Well, no drama this week. We're all going to win or we're all going to lose.
Well, how about that? That kind of stinks. I wrote it down while you were doing your interview with Jack, and there was my answer.
All right.
I hate that.
It'll be okay, Bill.
This means we're behind another week with you. I can't stand that. Hey, we had a great guest tonight, Jack Fritz. Who's coming to Philly Pressbox Radio next week?
Well, Bill, you will have plenty of time to talk about how bad the Sixers are next week and how much they annoy you, because we're going to do our annual 76ers season preview show with not one, but two great guests joining us. They co-host the daily Locked On 76ers podcast on YouTube, which is very good, by the way. We're talking about Kayla Santiago and our old pal Keith Pompey of the Inquirer. So Kayla and Keith joining us next week. We're going to tape that actually a day or two ahead of time because opening night is next Wednesday, the 23rd, the Sixers hosting the Bucks.
Well, as long as we do it after Sunday where we can harass Keith Pompey for being a Giants fan.
That's right. Yeah, we will.
That's all that really matters.
We will.
There's enough harassment for the Sixers to start out the season. By the way, speaking of the Sixers, Paul George hyperextended his knee. Joel Embiid isn't planning to play the preseason. He may not be ready for the season opener and won't play in any back-to-back games, Chet. What the heck is going on? I just don't get it.
Okay, the good news is with Paul George, it looks to be just a bruise. He'll be reevaluated again Monday or Tuesday. Hopefully, we'll be good to go on Wednesday. The Joel Embiid stuff, I don't know, but I'm just throwing up my hands anymore at this point. Yeah, probably never again a back-to-back game for him. If he plays 60 games this year, regular season, it's going to be a miracle in my mind. But hey, if it happens, it happens, and hopefully he'll be healthy come next May, and they'll make a deep playoff run finally. But beyond that, I can't explain it anymore, Bill.
Well, it's a shame because I think what it does, and it's not just him. There's other guys doing it too.
Yeah,
it makes a mockery of the regular season. It's like it's not important to play in these games. If he plays 60 games, that's what he misses 22. That's that's a third of the season, thereabouts. As long as you make the playoffs, the regular season doesn't matter. And I think the more and more you see it, the more and more it becomes obvious that that's how they feel.
Look at Malloy's another Embiid hater, just like you, Bill.
Malloy's hating pretty much on everything. He hates you too most of the time.
Go Sixers. I'm still excited about the season. It's going to be interesting. When we talk to Keith and Kayla, I'm going to ask how many games they think the big three, Paul George, Tyrese Maxey, and Joel Embiid, will in fact play together. If it's more than a dozen, I might be surprised.
Well, I hope that's not the case.
I do too, but you never know, man.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if that were the case. I don't know what the heck you would do. I'm hoping Paul George comes in and really makes an impact. But, again, if you finish first or you finish sixth, it's okay. And by the way, I get it that it's preseason. It really doesn't matter at all. They lost by 50 to Boston. 50. How's that happen in anything?
Again, preseason, most of the big names weren't playing, but yeah, it's kind of embarrassing still.
Yeah, you're putting on the uniform, go play, right? You can't lose by 50 to anybody in anything.
We'll talk Sixers next week. How about those Penn State Nittany Lions, though, Bill?
How about it? They went out to Los Angeles to play USC in a really, really good game. The Penn State offense was really good. The defense was good when it needed to be. Ohio State lost in another thriller out in Oregon. Penn State moves up to number 3. Texas at Georgia this Saturday night. That's can't-miss football, Chet, for college football guys. If Texas were to go down, there's a chance Penn State moves up to the 2 spot.
Yeah, go figure. Now, last Saturday, I was on the road going all over the place in eastern Pennsylvania, but I did see part of the first half at one tavern. I saw much of the fourth quarter at another tavern, but then I had to leave to go see a concert. And on the way to the concert, I got to hear the end of the game with Steve Jones and Jack Ham calling the game. So I heard the end of the game when they won. So it was great win. But now you look at the schedule and you look ahead to the big one, November 2nd, Bill. Boy, Beaver Stadium is going to be hopping that evening. Ohio State, Penn State.
Don't look ahead to that at Wisconsin game.
Yeah. Don't overlook that.
At Wisconsin game could be a trap. They're always good. They're at home, Wisconsin. They're not as good as they have been, but that's a big game right there, and you can't sleep on that game. If they can get through that in Ohio State, there's a chance they could run this table.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves, Bill. One week at a time. They're off this week. We'll talk more next week about Penn State and everything else. Let's wrap it up. Come on.
I will tell you one other thing about that game, since you didn't get to watch it, listen to it. Tyler Warren, number 44 for Penn State, the tight
end, right?
Probably played the greatest game of a tight end that's ever been played. That I have ever witnessed.
Yeah, he had quite a game.
He had 17 or 18 catches, 240 yards, threw a pass, completed, ran the ball also from the running back position. He's an old high school quarterback. The kid is huge. He's left-hander. But he he put on an absolute show that was like almost like a Heisman coming out party. He did everything, and no lie, it is the greatest game I've ever seen a tight end play, and I've watched a little bit of football in my long years.
Yeah, great. Well, hope he keeps it up, and I'm excited about the upcoming couple of games. So,
and I will be in Happy Valley for the Ohio State game. You know
yes,
that.
you will.
Yep,
I expect a full report.
That. Oh yeah, I'll be there.
Wrap it
All
up.
right, let's wrap it up. Let's thank tonight's special guest, Jack Fritz, our sponsors, the Irish Rover Station House, Cavs Philly Tailgates, PPCC 118, Raz Room, and STT Sports Network. How about that? For Jim Chet Chesko, this is Bill Furman. We hope you enjoyed the show, and we'll join Philly Pressbox Radio next Wednesday, October 23rd at 7 p.m. You can see us live on Facebook, on our Philly Pressbox YouTube channel as well, and listen on Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and all the others. High hopes, Philadelphia sports fans. Let's go Flyers and go Birds.
Happy trails to you till we meet again.